Hey guys, welcome back. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make an origami bookcase as well as origami books. For this project you will need 5 square sheets of paper and some glue. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make this. So the first thing we're going to work on is the inside section of your bookshelf, and to start with you're going to need 1 square sheet of paper, and you want to start by turning it so that the color side is facing down. What you're going to do now is you're going to fold the top edge to the side edge so that you end up with a diagonal crease. So fold it like this. When you have it properly aligned, give it a nice crease. Unfold it. Now fold it so that the top edge aligns with the right edge. Once that's aligned, give it a nice crease. Unfold it. Now you should have an X shape going through the center of the page. What you're going to do now is you're going to go to one of the tips, it doesn't matter which one, and you're going to fold it to the center where the creases intersect. Just like that. Once it's aligned, give that a nice crease. Turn it to the next flap, fold this tip to the center. And you want to do this again on the next flap. Fold the tip to the center. And finally, do it to this one as well. Crease it into place. You should end up with the shape over here. Now we're going to flip this over to the other side. And you want to start by folding the bottom edge to the center crease. Allow this flap to fold out as you do so. Once you have it aligned, just go ahead and crease this edge over here. Do the same thing with this edge and unfold it. You should have a crease at the bottom. Do the same thing with the top edge. Fold this edge to the center. Crease in this edge. And crease in this edge as well. Unfold it. And you should end up with this shape. Then go ahead and flip this entire thing to the other side. Now we're going to fold it so that the bottom edge comes and intersects with the 2 creases that we just made up here. So we're going to fold it up. And you're going to align it, and basically you can align this crease with this crease. Just like that. Do the same thing with this side, align the 2 creases. Once it's aligned, crease it into place. Unfold it. Now we're going to flip this model back to the other side, and we're going to fold it so that the top edge aligns with the crease that we just made. And as you do so, allow this flap to fold out. So you're going to align it like this. Once it's aligned, go ahead and crease it into place, and this time crease it all the way. Just like that. And then take this flap, fold it out. You should have a shape like this on the inside. You should have 3 creases, 1 in the middle, 2 on the sides, and then a 4th crease going along this way. What you're going to do is you're going to fold the bottom edge here and align it to this crease. So you're going to grab it, fold it up like this, and align this edge to that crease. Crease it in. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. Fold this edge and align it with that first crease. Once it's aligned, crease it into place. And you should end up with this shape here. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take this flap and you're going to fold it down so that it folds all the way up against this edge and this edge here. So you're going to fold it down like that. And that's going to create a new edge underneath this already existing crease. And what you want to do is you just want to go ahead and crease that into place. And you should have a shape like this. Now we're going to go ahead and undo all of those folds. So you want to undo this flap, open these two up. You're going to allow this to prop up, flip it over to the other side, and fold this flap back down. So you're back to this shape over here. So this is the flap that you just worked with. We're going to turn it around so that it's facing you. Fold this edge so that it aligns with these two creases, like we did before. So align this crease with that crease there. And align this crease with that crease. Once it's aligned, crease it into place. Unfold it. Flip it around. So that's the crease that you just made. Fold the top edge to that crease that you just made. Again, let the flap fold out. So that is the first crease, not the second one. The second one's there because of the steps that we just did. So it's going to be the first crease from the center. Just like that. Crease it into place all the way. Allow this flap to open up so that you can crease it in. And you know you've done it right when this fold here, this crease, aligns with this edge. If this crease is higher than this edge, then you've aligned it to the wrong crease over there. So it should now look like this. Now we're going to go down here and we're going to fold this bottom edge to this crease over here, the first crease, just like we did last time. Once it's aligned, crease it in. Do the same thing with this side, fold the bottom edge to that first crease. Once it's aligned, crease it in. And now we're going to take this flap, and again we're going to fold it against these two edges. Go ahead and crease in that edge there. And again, you should end up with a shape like this. This time we're going to flip it over to the side, and we're going to take this flap and we're going to raise it up. Now we're going to fold it down backwards along the crease right over here. So here's the center crease. There should be two creases on top of it, and it's the second crease up. So we're going to fold it back like this. Flip it over. And you should already have a diagonal crease going there, so you can just fold it up along that. Do the same thing on the side. Fold it up along that diagonal crease that you already have. Then go ahead and take this top flap, fold it down along the crease right here until you end up with this shape. Now what you're going to do is you're going to hold it like this, and you're going to carefully pull this apart until you can see the flap on the inside. Go ahead and grab that one as well, and carefully, without tearing the paper, start to pry it out so that this paper goes underneath this layer. Just like that. You may need to adjust it a bit until it aligns properly. And as you can see here, it's folded a bit. Just unfold that if that happens. We're going to do the same thing on this side. We want this layer to be on top and this one to be on the bottom. So we're just going to unfold it until it aligns. And you should end up with a shape like this. Now what you want to do is you want to go to each of the edges. And you just want to lightly crease it in. can fold this flap down. Go ahead and crease that in. Do the same thing here, fold this flap down, crease it in. And I'm just pushing the edges in so that it folds in nicely. Like that. And then finally fold in this edge, crease it in. So once you're finished, your unit should look like this. And what you want to do is you want to go ahead and make a second one. And to do so, you just repeat all the steps that I've showed you so far. Once you've gotten this far, set these two aside, and we're going to start by taking a third sheet of paper. And we're going to use this to make the outer shell of the bookshelf. Now the first few steps are going to be similar to how we started with that unit over here. But what we're going to do is Now the first few steps are going to be very similar to this unit. So we're going to start by turning this to the other side so that the color side is facing down. Then we're going to fold it so that the top edge aligns with the side edge. Once it's aligned, crease it into place. Unfold it. Now fold it so that the top edge aligns with the right side edge. Once that's aligned, crease it into place. Unfold it. We're going to turn it to one of the tips and fold this tip to the center intersecting point of the two creases. Like that. Crease it in. And we're going to go all the way around once again. Crease that into place. And just two more to go. Finally, we have this flap. Once it's creased into place, you should have a shape like this. And what we're going to do now is we're going to fold the bottom edge to the center crease. And as you do so, you want to make sure you pull this flap in, otherwise it'll tend to fold out. Put it like that. Align it with the center crease and then crease the edge into place. Unfold it. We're going to do the same thing with the top edge here. Fold this edge to the center crease. Once it's aligned, crease it into place. Unfold it. You should now have a crease pattern that looks like this. For this next step, you're going to need a pen or a pencil. You're going to take one of your bookshelves, and what you want to do is you want to align this tip with the center there so that this edge and the bottom edge are aligned with this crease and this crease. So when you do that, it's going to look like this. And you want to make sure the long side is oriented up, not sideways, so vertically like this. And once you have that aligned properly, go ahead and mark this edge with a pen. Do the same thing with the side. You're going to align this edge with the center crease. Bottom edge with the center crease here. And just go ahead and mark that side there. You should have two lines now. What you're going to do is you're going to turn it to the side and you're going to fold it along that line. Try to get it as straight as possible, then crease it into place. Do the same thing with the side here. fold it along that line that you just made. But this time, before you crease it in, make sure that both of these fit snugly in between the two. So it looks like it fits. So then go ahead and crease this into place until you end up with a shape like this. Now we're going to go ahead and fold out this flap as well as this flap. And then go ahead and take this bottom edge and fold it up along this first crease so that this edge meets the center, like that. Do the same thing with the top edge, fold it along this first crease so that you get this shape. So now if you'll notice here, you have a series of creases. You want to take a look at your last crease. Go ahead and fold it so that the bottom edge comes and aligns with this crease that you have. And remember, you're going to have more than one crease, so make sure it's the last crease. Just like that. Crease this into place. And only crease it up to this edge over here. Unfold it. Do the same thing on this side. Fold this edge with this crease here. Crease it into place until you reach this edge. Unfold it. Turn this thing around. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to fold the bottom edge to that crease. Once it's aligned, crease it in. Unfold it. And then do the same thing here. Fold this edge to that crease. Crease it in, unfold it. Now if you look at this side here, you have two creases that are going up and connecting at the middle. You want to fold it down right at the point where the two creases intersect. So you're going to fold it right over there. Crease it in. Do the same thing on this side. You want to create a crease that aligns with the point where the two creases intersect. Just like that. You should end up with a shape like this. Okay, now we're going to take this, and what you want to do is you want to open up this flap on the left, open up the flap on the right, and it should naturally form a shape like this. And now what you're going to do is you're going to align this edge with this edge that you just pinched in. So just go ahead and push those two together. Do the same thing on this side. Align this edge with that edge that you just pinched in. And it should fold up naturally to give you this shape. We're going to do the same thing on this side. We're going to take the first crease here, pinch it in. Do the same thing on this side, and then fold these two edges together and do the same thing here. Okay, so now that you have this shape, you can go ahead and take your two inside units. Take your first one, go ahead and place it on the edge. Then take your flap and fold it right up against this edge here. Crease it in. Now we're going to take our other little section, insert that in right beside the first one, and do the same thing on the side. Take this flap, fold it down, and against the edge. And at this point you may need to glue it in so that everything stays nice and snug, but this should be the overall bookshelf. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and apply a bit of glue so that this stays nice and sturdy, but you don't have to. As you can see, it does stay in place for the most part. So if you wanted to, you could just leave it the way it is. So that's pretty much it for the bookshelf. Now let's go ahead and make a couple of books. Okay, so now we're going to work on the inside of the book. And to do that, you can use as many sheets of paper as you want. I'm just going to use one sheet as a demonstration, so the book's going to be fairly thin. Obviously, the more paper you use, the thicker the book will be. So you want to start by turning it so that the color side is facing down, and go ahead and fold this in half. Once it's aligned, crease it into place. Now, the book I'm making is going to be fairly big because I do want it to match the size of the shelf. But if you wanted a smaller book, for example, then you would cut this square sheet into 4 strips instead of 2. I'm only making it 2. So once you have it creased in, go ahead and tear it along that crease. What we're going to do now is we're going to take this strip and we're going to fold it so that this edge meets the bottom edge. And instead of creasing it into place, you're just going to pinch it along the middle a little bit like that. Unfold it. Then go ahead and fold it so that this edge meets the center crease that you just made. Crease it in. Do the same thing at the side, fold this edge to the center. Crease it in. And now we have to determine the size of the page, and I want it to match this bookshelf here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert this in right at the edge, and I'm going to push it in until it hits the back of the bookshelf. Then go ahead and just take the sheet and fold it along the edge of the bookshelf, like that. So now you have a rough estimate of how thick the book is going to be. Crease it in. Go ahead and fold it in a zigzag pattern so that it matches this width. Just fold it back like this. Do the same thing here. Now in this case I'm going to have a little bit of excess there, so I'm going to have to cut that off. Normally what you would do though is you would take a strip of paper. Let's make it smaller this time. I'm just going to show you how to make a different sized book. So let's say you had a smaller strip of paper and you didn't want to align it with anything. What you could do is you could just fold it in half like you did before, crease it in the center, fold the edges to the center. And then you could just fold the strip in half. Fold the edge to the edge over here, so the bottom to the top. Flip it over, do the same thing, fold the bottom to the top. And then you can literally fold this edge to that edge. Crease it in. Then unfold the whole thing. And make it so that it folds as a zigzag along each of the creases. And if you do it this way, you should end up with a nice and even sized book. And you won't have any excess paper to cut. So if you wanted to do it this way, you could do it this way as well. But let's go back to the sheet. I'm going to go ahead and repeat these steps on this other strip of paper that I have, and then I'm going to show you how to connect the two. So now once you've gotten this strip to this stage, what you want to do is you just want to take your other strip of paper, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut this excess off and be right back. So what you want to do is you want to go to one of the ends, doesn't matter which one, take your other strip of paper, and you want to insert it into this end. Like that. Once you have it nicely aligned, take this new piece of paper and fold it down so that it follows the zigzag pattern that you have going. And then just keep folding it down until it reaches the end. And again, you're going to end up with a bit of excess paper if you decided to create the strip the same way I did. You're going to have to go ahead and cut that off. And you should end up with a shape like this. I would highly recommend adding some glue to the part where you put the two units together, because eventually it could end up sliding off. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. There we go. And finally, all we have left to do is to make the cover. So to do that, we're going to take our last piece of paper and we're going to turn it so that the color side is facing down, and then just go ahead and fold it so that the top edge aligns with the bottom edge. And we're going to go ahead and tear this in half. Okay, so once you crease it in, go ahead and tear the strip along the crease. And you should end up with two strips like this. You can go ahead and save one strip for another book. All you need is one. Flip it so that the color side is facing down. And once again, you're going to fold it so that this edge aligns with the bottom edge. And instead of creasing it in all the way, just go ahead and put in a small crease at the center. Like that. Once it's creased in, go ahead and unfold it. And then fold the top edge so that it aligns with the crease that you just made. Now just before you crease it in, what you want to do is you want to pull it up just about a centimeter or so from that crease, and then crease it into place. So you don't want it perfectly aligned with the crease that you made, you want to leave a little bit of gap. Do the same thing with the bottom, fold it to the center crease that you just made. Just before you crease it in, pull it back a little bit so that there's a tiny gap. Crease it in. So that when you're finished, you should end up with a shape like this with a small strip going across the center. Once you have this, what you're going to do is you're going to take this and you're going to fold it so that this edge meets this edge. So you're essentially folding it in half, but you're not going to crease it in. Once you have it like this, take the inside of the book and insert it inside. Once again, make sure these two edges are aligned. Push the strip all the way to the back. And then pinch it into place. Now at the back, we're going to crease in the part where the edges meet. like that. Crease this in. And that sort of creates the back binding of the book. Now we're going to go ahead and unfold this layer, unfold the first layer of the pages, and just go ahead and take this flap and fold it right up against the edge there. Just like that. Once it's in, fold this back down. Do the same thing with the side here. Open up this flap. Fold this flap right up against that edge. And then fold this back down. Once you've done that, you should end up with a shape like this, but as you can see, the pages are sort of sticking out, and you want the cover to be larger than the edge of the page. So what you want to do is, before you crease it in, go ahead and pull it just a little bit so that it's not completely aligned with this edge. Fold it back into place. And as you can see, now the cover overlaps the pages. Do the same thing on this side. Pull it back just a little bit. Fold it back down. And you should end up with a shape like this. Now go ahead and take out the inside. And you're going to have this excess bit over here. What you want to do is you want to open up the layers and fold that excess bit of flap down into itself, and then fold everything back into place. Do the same thing on this side, open it up, take this excess bit, fold it down, so it's basically folding along the first crease that you made. Fold everything back together. Once you have this shape, what you're going to do now is you're going to take your paper, the inside of the book, and you're going to insert this flap into the opening. So that's the first page that goes into the opening of the book cover. Fold it down into place, and then finally do the same thing with this flap here. Put it into the opening. And once again, you don't really require glue for this, but if you really want it to stay together, I would recommend putting a little bit of glue, but you don't have to if you don't want to. And just want to make sure it goes in all the way. And there you go, you should have your completed book at this point. And if you have any paper that's out of place, you can always take it out, realign everything. But yeah, this should be your completed book. And then you can go ahead and place this in your bookshelf. And there we go, you should now have your completed bookshelf and your books. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you got stuck at any point during the video, then please do let me know in the comment section below, and I'll try to help you as best as possible. Once again, if you want to make different sized books, then all you have to do is change the size of the strips that you're using, and you should be able to make a variety of different sizes of books. So that pretty much sums up this tutorial. I'll see you guys next time.